Part 2. So I got a little bit of stuff off my chest, but I got it to now turn it to what the title of the thing was supposed to be in the first place. Racist ass parents that won't let their kids marry out of their race. I'm a product of multiculturalness. I'm a product of what happened when the European settlers brought the black slaves over and decided we're going to take the land from the Native Americans. We're going to rape and pillage the villages. We're going to rape and pillage the slaves that we have. We're not going to give them civil rights. We're not going to have them do anything but accept what we tell them as truth. We're not going to let them learn how to read or write. And more importantly, the only abominations that they are going to create are going to be the kind that's going to work in the fields, pick the cotton, shovel the shit, tend to the hogs. I am the abominations, descendants of what you created when you decided to rape, pillage, and plunder the natives of this world. The Africans, slaves, the indentured servants who were white, who came over here for a better life at the risk of being raped by the people they promised servitude to for paying for their ticket to get here. I am the abomination that y'all created when y'all decided that, oh, we can do what we want to everyone else, but we don't want them procreating with us willingly. That is a crime. But unwillingly, we will let them do whatever the hell we want them to do, as long as it's for the greater good of everyone except them. Now y'all may be thinking to yourself, James, how dare you say this blasphemy? And James will tell you right off the bat, it ain't blasphemy when it's the goddamn truth. So you can take it however you want it, but it ain't blasphemy when it's the truth. So, people don't like multicultural people. People don't like people who are half this or half that or half this even. So people like me, we ain't supposed to exist. But the people who didn't like us in the first place are the ones that brought us into existence with this little crime called rape or forced servitude into, well, you're my indentured servant, and even though you're white, just like these people of color, these savages that were here when we got here, you have no rights. So what does that say? How else did interracial couples begin? It began in slavery. It began with the rapes of indigenous women. It began with the rapes of slaves. It began with a crime. But now we're here. We exist. And you don't like it. You don't want us with your children. But you want your children with someone who's going to slap them around, call them bitches and whores, and then take what you worked so hard for them to get. But you didn't think that maybe that man of color don't want your land. Maybe he don't want reparations. Maybe he just want the heart and soul of why he fell in love with your child in the first place. That person. But no. Let's not think like that. Let's just think of them as pieces of crap that only want to take what's ours. But initially, what was ours technically was theirs. We just took it from their ass, especially the red man. So we want to make sure that our kids don't procreate with their kids. This is what led up to some bullshit with people forming nations like the alt-right movement and all this other crap that didn't need to be assembled. But you gotta remember, as Terminator 2 said, there's no fate for what you make. But why would you rather your child be miserable and suffer than be happy, even if the person that makes them the happiest don't look like you? And I ain't just saying this to white people. I ain't just saying this to black people. I ain't just saying this to Asian people. I'm saying this to every one of you racist sons of bitches in the world that has something against someone who can't help the fact that my grandmother, both sides, their parents and ancestors killed things with bows and arrows before they ever laid eyes on a white man or a black man. My black ancestors was locked in chains and ropes, dragged across an ocean, sold out by other black ancestors to become American slaves. The ancestors that I'm white from are more likely either were masters or indentured servants, but yet these are racist parents in the world see their daughters or their sons with someone who looks totally different. If my son brings home a Korean girl, he wants to marry her, and she treats him like gold, or a black chick will treat him like a damn dog, I would make sure that he goes for the Korean chick, not because I said so, but because of how she treats him, how she makes him feel like he's a fucking man, instead of how he feels like a fucking dirt and can't live up enough to the black girl's dreams and wants, because he's not a fucking gangster. He doesn't fucking do drugs. He doesn't do beer or alcohol. He obeys the law like the Korean parents would want him to be. Let's say the script is reversed. Maybe her parents don't want her in their lives. Or maybe they do because the Korean dudes don't view her as sexy because she's a little bit plumper than the average Korean girl. So other Korean dudes don't want her, won't touch her, can't stand her, start lies. But she found the love in a black man. But Korean parents are very traditional. Some aren't down with that. But here's a fucking shocker to you. Actually, most Asian parents are fairly open-minded, except for the ones that are here in America. You may get lucky. You may find a diamond in the rough. You may find an open-minded parent that meets a young black man on the street and says, damn, you know, the young black man did all this stuff and saved my life and stuff. He may be worthy of the man's daughter. He might have to break tradition. But we of the interracial people, we do exist due to crimes of rape and pillaging and plundering. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Don't we have the right to be happy? We're still humans. We still bleed red just like you. Sperm's still viable. Ovaries are still viable. But you would not let me marry your daughter, even though I would never put my hands on her outside of consensual sex. But you would rather her marry some asshole who will be saying, hey bitch, understand the palm of my hand. And then it goes back to relationships are overrated. You can't come see me anymore. But I wasn't the guy who goes understand the palm of my hand or call a woman a bitch or a whore or a slut, because that's not how I was raised. Okay, maybe I might have called some of my sisters that, but their sisters, they don't count. But I'll kill anybody else that ever does it. Now, here's that thing. If you love your child, wouldn't you rather your child be happy than miserable? Because if you rather have your happiness over your child's happiness, you have no right to call yourself a parent. But there is another word for you that the dictionary probably doesn't have for you. It's called motherfucker or butt-knocking racist. If you are a parent who would rather see your kids suffer in misery than live a happy, loving life with someone who loves them, even though their color don't match your religious or spiritual beliefs, How dare you tell your child every day before they're old enough to start fucking did you love them? When deep down, if you're having these conversations with your kid before they begin school, it says, look, you can have plenty of black friends, but you can't marry them. In fact, you can have plenty of black friends, but you can't have sex with them. Don't do that. That's a sin. You know, if you're starting conversations with your kids like that before they start having sex, or just when they're about to start having sex, I hate to tell you, but yeah, you're a racist. No, I hate being blunt like that, and I'm sorry for swearing. But if you're telling your children this, then you truly are a dick and a racist, and there should be no place on earth for you. However, I'm not Jesus Christ. And that's the thing. You know, a lot of these people claim to be all spiritual and all holy and all this other crap. Most of y'all are the biggest damn liars on the planet, spitting out the most blasphemous ass shit. Talking about some we people of God, but we're gonna cause strife, chaos, and discord. We're not gonna let our child be happy with someone who doesn't look like us. Now I know you're all thinking, James, you're really striking a nerve. You're being very evil. Well, wait till it happens to you. More than once, I've had this happen to me. There was a girl I had a crush on in school. I will leave her name out of it. But I will tell you what was told to me by her exact words. And I hope that she's happy. I know she's married, so I hope that she's happy. That's the least I can do. Her exact words were, I'm not allowed to date out of my race. If I was, then things would be different. That being said, at least she was honest about it. No, I'm not allowed to date out of my race. I would much rather be hurt with the truth than to be hurt with a lie, a 2-year lie of, well, we're going to get married and we're going to do this and we're going to live happily ever after. Well, I'm here to tell you first and foremost, if I may quote Maroon 5, all those fairy tales are full of shit. There is no happily ever after for some of us. And by some of us, I specifically mean me. You know, I'm not going to dash anybody else's dream. That'd be like me shooting Santa Claus in the face. No, that's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video to reach out to racist parents who would rather have their child marry an abuser and a user than to have their child marry someone who's going to love them for the rest of their natural life. Oh, I'm sorry. That's too much like the right damn thing to do. Let's not let her marry this man of color who's going to treat her right. Let's let her marry some bionic jackass who's going to treat her like dog shit. And we'll go from there and see what happens. Because that's too damn easy to do. You know, it happens all the time. It happens more often than not. But most people didn't have the time or the technology to make videos about it, to get the shit off their chest. I'm not a happy camper. Because I've had to live for the last 8 years wondering what happened. I have to live for the last 8 years and the rest of my life wondering if she's okay, wondering if whoever she's with treating her like she should be treated. But my wondering, in my opinion, doesn't count. And she made it legally impossible for me to even ask if she's still breathing. Because I'll never know. Now, I don't know if it was because her parents are racist and they are Emmy award winning. If they are, they got good jobs. But if that was the case, shame on them, shame on her, and shame on everyone who let it go down. But it's okay. The Lord works in mysterious ways. And I'm a strong believer in the truth always comes out. One day I'll know. It might be in the afterlife. It might take 2 or 3 lifetimes. But one day I will know. One day. Could be today, could be tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to happen. But one day I will know. And on that day, I hope like hell that it's her who tells me. It's not one of her friends. It's not one of her children that she may have by some other man. And hopefully he won't be a black man, because that will totally piss me the fuck off. Because that would mean, oh, she grew up, but she didn't grow up enough to come to me, to come back to the one true love that would have loved her for the rest of her natural life. Because that would have been too much like the right thing to do. I didn't used to be a bad guy, playing the good guy, playing the bad guy. I started off as the bad guy, but I learned martial arts, and it made me a better man, as in fighting skills. It made me a better man as having humanity, because knowing that you can beat the shit out of people doesn't make it right. Learning to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, learning to do what's right, ain't always the easiest, but it's the only choice that I make, because I don't like waiting to make the only option the right thing when there is no other option. You should always be willing to do the right thing, regardless of whose feelings you hurt, regardless of whatever the hell the issue is. But we as humans are too weak to do that. Most of us. Or should I say most of y'all. I personally like to tell the truth and get the shit over with. All I ever wanted was the truth. Why are relationships overrated and I can't come see you anymore? I deserve that much. Of course, only person who thinks that would be me. So I'm going to break it down for y'all. And I'm going to end this video right here with this. If you are a parent and you love your child as much as you claim you love your child, why would you get in the way of their happiness? Oh, because you have racist values. You'd rather your child be miserable and suffer with someone who looks more like you, who treats them like dog shit, than someone who could love them for the rest of their life because they look like me. Again, I can't acknowledge and say that this is what ended it. I got no proof. Another reason why I left names off of, because this video could go the wrong direction. The next damn thing you know, my dumb ass will be sitting in court again for freedom of speech. Because after all, I did get hemmed up for 2 love songs and 2 text messages during a moment of weakness on a motherfucking birthday. A day I still cry over, because I do not have her in my arms. A day that I had to force myself to stop buying her gifts that I was never going to give her. No one knows how much that sucks. So I guess if I live long enough and have a daughter or a child of my own, unfortunately they won't be with her. I will give those amulet things to that child. They are very pretty amulets. No. But I do know this. If I do live long enough to have a child, and if it's a daughter, and she comes to me with a black man who treats her nice compared to a white man who treats her like shit, or vice versa, she comes to me with a white man who treats her like she's God's greatest gift, as compared to a black man who would treat her like dog shit and say, oh, she's a black bitch, a whore, a slut, she doesn't deserve to have a decent man. I would damn sure put her in the direction of that white man any day of the week than before I let her marry a black man who's going to treat her like shit, refuse to get a fucking job, do shit that everybody else does because of the stereotypical role that black people play in society instead of trying to live above the fucking bullshit. We want to be like everyone else. Well, change begins within ourselves. And to make change, you got to know that there's a problem. And most people don't want to acknowledge when there's a problem. Most people don't want to acknowledge when they're in the wrong. Most people won't seek to solve the problem. They only want to create more chaos, more panic, more discord. And more importantly, they want to keep their children that they claim they love more than life itself, that I will die and take a bullet for, away from the people who could have made them happy, and you dare tell your child that you love them. 1,000 pounds of shave on you. I'm James Williams Jr. And if you're doing that and you're a parent, there's a special place in hell for you. And when you get there, I'll be there too. Because if I got one thing to ask God for my afterlife, is to make everyone who's ever made someone like me suffer because of the color of their skin. And if I got to go to hell to be God or the devil's enforcer to take it out on people who destroyed people's chance at real love and happiness because of the color of someone else's skin, then that's what I'll do. Because I'd rather spend an eternity in hell doing the right thing for love than an eternity in heaven watching people on earth suffer because of the racist fucking parents that wouldn't let them be with the person who loves them more than life itself. I'm James Williams Jr. Keep that in mind when you have a little girl who wants to bring home a different person of a different ethnicity. Don't raise racist. Raise peace lovers. Be seeing you.